site is inappropriate for a development of this size. The surrounding access roads are not suitable for the increased volume of traffic. Council has only looked at upgrading one route to and from the site, and obviously not everyone will use that one route. They will access all the other options depending on where they want to be in town, and these options include very narrow roads, some steep, some very steep, some nasty corners, hazardous in winter, as the last few weeks will have shown to anyone who's tried to drive along them or walk. From all I have read, I believe, and it's quite a lot that I've tried to understand, I believe that the water supply for the Fitch hatchery and the issues surrounding this have not been resolved. It depends on this water supply not being disturbed to give it consistent temperature and so on. You'll hear a lot more, and you've heard a lot more from people who know a lot more about this than me. The hatchery is a local employer and provides a huge economic benefit to the valley. For me, the risk of losing this valuable local provider is too great. A development of this size does not conform to the OCP and also not to my understanding of the direction for the development of Lower Town. And I could not support the rezoning of this site from agriculture medium density, and a council who was elected on a platform of preservation of land should think about this, to a high density residential zone. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. My name is Kyle Gergen. I live at 2595 Green Mountain Road, Carameus, British Columbia, and I manage the Summerland Trout Hatchery for the Freshwater Fisheries Society of BC. I'm here today to provide some clarity for Mayor and Council and the public as we head into the final stage of this process, as these topics have been identified by Council and in the media. We first received a request from the district to communicate directly with the developers in November 2016. In January 2017, the Society met with the Lark Group. We were later invited to review the minutes from that January meeting. It was our opinion the proponents' meeting minutes did not reflect the actual content of that in-person meeting, so we wrote an email to the district stating, quote, "It is the Society's opinion that the most effective and appropriate approach for all application-related communications is through district staff. This centralized approach to managing written communication should help ensure the responsible decision makers and public are continuously updated." End quote. The Society has had direct communications with the District of Summerland approximately 100 times, including emails and direct review requests over the last 22 months, and have done so in a timely fashion, meeting any and all deadlines. We did not break off communications with the applicant. We tried to take steps to improve communications through the district. Unfortunately, we continued to be misrepresented, misquoted, and misinterpreted throughout the process. The perception that the Society is withholding information, such as the 2004 Golder Report, is not substantiated and is simply misrepresenting the Society interest and involvement in this process. The report in question was prepared in 2004 by Golder Associates and was commissioned by the FFSBC. Therefore, this 2004 report is the property of the FFSBC. This report was directly referenced without our consent in a document that was prepared on Lark's behalf in February of last year. This should not have occurred, since that 2004 report cannot be used for the Lark Group or their consultants' separate purposes without the Society's permission. The limitation section of this report clearly states the report is intended for the exclusive use of the FFSBC. Despite this apparent professional misstep and the deterioration of trust toward the Lark Group, the Society provided permission to the Lark Group and their consultants to continue using their copy of the 2004 Golder Report, but to not copy and distribute the 2004 report without permission. Although the developers have stated differently, we never restricted his access, and it is important to note that until this morning, the Society has not received any requests from the public, the District of Summerland, or other government agencies or stakeholders for the release of the report. If the Society does receive a request for a copy of the 2004 Golder Report, we can make it available. An aquifer monitoring program and contingency water supply were first suggested by the Society in that face-to-face meeting in January of 2017. In a letter dated March 30th, the Lark Group's engineers did not support the idea of using on-site wells to monitor turbidity caused by construction vibrations. Their rationale was, and I quote, "Should vibration-induced turbidity be detected by the monitoring well, this information alone will not safeguard the hatchery from turbidity from either the development or upstream sources." Despite this conclusive dismissal, these wells are now included in the proponents' recent aquifer protection strategy, but their strategy has no contingencies in place to protect the hatchery from impacted water. Recently, I've been quoted by the developers as saying that we don't want or need an alternative water source. If you listen to my entire statement from the August 14th, 2017 council meeting, you will also hear me say that this is because we currently have a consistent and sustainable water source, and that the only reason we are talking about this is because of the proposed development on Banks Crescent. We have never removed our requirement for a contingency water supply simply because we have no other options available if spring water quality is impacted. In order to continue to operate safely, we must have instant access to clean, fresh water if our water is affected by the development. Despite the lengthy process that has led to today, there are still many lingering questions about risk and probability, accountability and liability associated with the proposed ICASA development and the protection of the Summerland trout hatchery. Our society is not anti-development, but we are not willing to accept these risks and are absolutely opposed to the rezoning application, amendments to the OCP and the ICASA development as it currently stands. Council has always clearly stated that the hatchery's concerns must be dealt with before approval of the development can happen. The Summerland trout hatchery and the aquifer that currently supplies 5 million liters of water per day are unique and vital to the region and the province. Please don't approve this project without knowing it won't affect our operations. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with you at this forum regarding the proposed ICASA development. My name is Andrew Wilson, and I'm the president of the Freshwater Fisheries Society, which includes the Summerland Trout Hatchery. I'm based out of our corporate office in Victoria, but have been a resident of Summerland in the past. Our society is a private non-profit organization with 60 full-time staff located at our facilities around the province. Our mandate is to enhance and conserve British Columbia's freshwater fisheries for the benefit of all British Columbians. And we are contracted by the province of BC to deliver the provincial fish stocking program. In that capacity, we stock over 800 lakes around the province with just over 8 million fish every year. The Summerland Trout Hatchery is an integral part of our program and is our oldest facility. We've been raising fish here since 1928. Currently, we raise over 1 million fish that are released annually into 300 lakes in the Thompson and Okanagan region. So just under half of the provincial fish stocking program is supported by this hatchery. There are 300,000 recreational anglers in BC. And the fisheries that our Summerland Trout Hatchery support contribute greatly to the $100 million in direct economic impact that sport fishing in the Thompson-Okanagan region generates every year. The Summerland Trout Hatchery has been 100% reliant on the water from Shaughnessy Springs since 1928. It is the hatchery's sole water source, providing a consistent flow of high-quality water that requires no filtration or aeration. Any threat resulting from the proposed ICASA development that could impact the quality of water we receive in the spring represents a very high consequence for our facility. Sloughing or prolonged periods of turbidity will directly impact the fish we produce and the recreational fisheries we support. Any recurring instances or periods of sustained high turbidity, even a single pulse of very dirty water, will result in egg or fish losses and affect our ability to maintain our stocking program and meet our contractual obligations with the province. It's important to know that the impacts of these losses extend beyond our immediate operations and contract. They'll impact anglers, lodges, guiding outfits, and retail and service providers that collectively drive that $100 million in economic activity in this region. The applicant's aquifer protection strategy document appears to be a work plan for managing stormwater and not a work plan specifically designed to also protect Shaughnessy Spring water quality and reduce the risk of turbid water generated by the development affecting our hatchery operations. Our primary concern with the strategy and its erosion and sediment control plan is that it speaks only to monitoring and is silent on what contingencies or responses the applicant would have in place to prevent turbid water generated from the development entering our facility. Hence, our repeated request for the applicant to incorporate a contingency water supply in their submission. This contingency would mitigate the risk to our operations by providing immediate access to an alternative water supply in the event of high turbidity. In the absence of a contingency water supply, the water quality risk from the development cannot be mitigated, which represents a direct threat to our facility. While the applicant's strategy does include a monitoring component for the spring, monitoring water quality does nothing for us if we are dealing with dirty water and dead fish. We first referenced the need for contingency water in our correspondence, or contingency water supply in our correspondence to the district in January 2017. We've reiterated this in letters sent on August 14th and September 7th, as well as January 19th of this year. All society correspondence has consistently and specifically stated our requirement for a contingency water supply to mitigate risk. We have been relying on Shaughnessy Springs water quantity and quality since the early 1900s, and it has served our hatchery very well. The Freshwater Fisheries Society, as Kyle said, is not opposed to development. However, no development to date has posed an unmitigated risk to our water source, like the proposed ICASA development. So long as the applicant's submission does not address our requirements of a contingency water supply or other means of mitigating the risk of turbid water generated by the development affecting our facility, we cannot accept the risk to our facility and must remain strongly opposed to the rezoning application, proposed amendments to the Fishery Community Plan, and the ICASA development as it currently stands.
Mayor and Council, fellow Summerlanders, my name is Brad Dearden. I'm a resident of Summerland, living in Meadow Valley at 464 Fish Lake Road. I am the Assistant Manager at the Summerland Trout Hatchery. I'm also a farmer and an advocate for protecting the environment and living in harmony with sensitive ecosystems and wetlands. I own 160 acres in Meadow Valley, and through the environmental farm plan, I fenced off every meter of Dark Creek running through my property to protect it from harmful impacts cattle can have that I run there. I understand the impact we have on water and the risks we take when developing on or near wetlands. The risk I took when fencing that wetland and losing that amount of sensitive area to production, that is to stay perfect and protected. That's the risk worth taking. I am also here to speak directly to the current operations of Summerland Trout Hatchery from the perspective of someone who works directly with the fish culture team and the water from Shaughnessy Spring that supplies our facility. Also, as a father to children who are growing up here, going to school here, and learning the impact we have on this earth. There's been a lot of discussion around the impact, the risk associated with this large development, and the impact it will have on the location where this water source naturally occurs. I understand that the level of risk has been rated low, but make no mistake, risk is still risk. The water from Shaughnessy Spring is as perfect a water source can be. Beautiful, clean, perfect water percolates out of the ground and is gravity fed from its source through our facility and then into Okanagan Lake. It doesn't need any pumps to push it. It doesn't draw any power to move it. It doesn't need any filters to clean it. It doesn't need to be altered in any shape or form for its use to rear approximately 1 million rainbow trout and brook char. Summerland Trout Hatchery has been in operation since 1928. It's currently the oldest facility of its type in the province. It is unique in its nature for one reason: Shaughnessy Spring. There are intermittent and rare occasions when we see small disturbances causing turbidity in the water. These disturbances are natural in their occurrence and very manageable and have low impact on our fish. The risk associated with this superstructure development is that it could have major impacts on the source of the water. Your guess is as good as mine, or the guess of experts, because nobody can tell you for sure that there won't be impact. So I guess that's the risk here. The risk of the unknown. Will there be impact? Will it show up immediately? Or will it take time? Nobody knows with great certainty. That's the risk. Until recently, our facility has been a bit of an unknown. I'm happy to have this exposure and demonstrate to you, to the rest of the community, to the province, that who we are and what we do. Like I said earlier, and other people have also said, we've been here since 1928. That's a long time. Longer than most of us here. Even you, Mr. Water, with respect. That leads me to these questions. Who are we to decide on the fate of a water source that has been here for an eternity? What kind of legacy do we want to leave future generations? A legacy of disregard for the environment? No. No. We want the future to be based on good, solid, moral decision-making practices that have a positive impact on our environment and our community. We want our current and future generations to know the importance of protecting their environment. We want to attract developers who share these sentiments and who agree that any risk is too much risk. Summerland should be known for its no negative risk development policy, a plan that is modeled after, not mocked after. I trust that our current mayor and council will take the right decision when they vote a unanimous no to this development location. It's the word location that's important. We are not opposed to development. We are strongly opposed to this location. Together, we have the opportunity to set a precedent and leave a lasting legacy for the future of Summerland. There is no going back. Once the damage is done, you can't fix it, and you certainly can't replace it. This is the wrong location for development of this scale. The risk of allowing this far overrides the risk of denying it. Summerland will be fine without it. And in closing, ICASA, I can't. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Dave Mahovlik. I live at 5604 Woods Avenue. Obviously, my view won't be impacted by the construction going ahead here. I'm here to talk about what I could be impacted by, and that's my livelihood. It might be impacted because I've worked at the hatchery for the last 30 years, and so have many other people. And it would be a shame to see any impact to the hatchery from construction on top of the aquifer. One of the first questions I was asked when I interviewed for the job at the Summerland hatchery was, why is the hatchery located where it is? And I think I got it wrong. I said, well, it's because of the lake, right? No, it wasn't, but they gave me a job anyway. So, okay. It was because of the abundant, reliable, disease-free water supply with the proper chemistry and temperature profiles that was free of contaminants. And that's what it continues to be today. Every day when I get to work, the water's still running. It's an amazing thing. It just keeps going and going. It's one thing that hasn't stopped for hundreds of years. I'm not opposed to development, but I am opposed, like many other here, is to the location of it. There's got to be a better place than putting it on top of an aquifer that is critical to the operation of a fish hatchery. The aquifer is not only rare in the Okanagan, but it's also of provincial significance, as you've heard from many people already here. What would happen if the aquifer were to be irreversibly damaged? How many fish would die? How many lakes would go unstocked in the long term? That's hard to know. What would the impact be to the local economy or the provincial economy? And to the recreational enjoyment of many, many people. The district is no stranger to water disruption events. We've had them over time just in the municipal water system. You know, you've had to implement plans, obviously, to lessen the impact to the public. The plans may have been as simple as reducing consumption for a while, or maybe filling up the bathtub. There are probably a few instances where the hatchery would be able to reduce water consumption for any length of time, and I've yet to see a bathtub big enough to act as a backup. But it really boils down to the unknown. Nobody is giving you 100% guarantee that nothing will go wrong, and you likely probably won't get one either. As I said again, I'm not against development. Many of my good friends and family members, as well as others, are dependent on construction for their livelihoods, and many would benefit from a development like this taking place in the community. It's just that why does it have to be on top of an aquifer? The developers tout the benefits to seniors in the community that the development will bring, but I also like to say that fishing has and will also continue to provide immeasurable benefits to the seniors of our community and to the seniors of our province. Thank you very much.
Okay, we're going to take a very short break, so this is a temporary adjournment for a few minutes, and I'd ask everybody to stay in their seats.